and I tried to get out of there because I feel very uncomfortable talking to somebody that handsome. Like I'm fine right now, but like.
What happens when public figures once associated with body confidence begin presenting a very different image? For years, names like Meghan Trainor, Kelly Clarkson, and Rebel Wilson were often linked to messages of self-acceptance and personal empowerment ideas many people connected with on a deeper level. But when noticeable transformations emerged, sometimes before clear explanations followed, questions naturally surfaced about what may have been unfolding beyond the spotlight. If these shifts have ever made you curious, you're not alone. In this video, we take a deeper look at what these stories may reveal, not simply about physical change, but about public narratives, private pressures, and the complex realities of life in Hollywood. Today, we explore what these celebrities have shared, what may have remained unsaid, and why these conversations may carry more meaning than they first appeared. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you see evolution, tension, or a larger cultural story beneath the surface? Chrissy Metz's story has often led audiences to pause and reflect, though for reasons that feel slightly different from other figures in similar discussions. For years, she was not only connected to conversations about body positivity, she helped bring those ideas to life on screen in a deeply human way. Through her role as Kate in This Is Us, she portrayed a woman navigating relationships, family struggles, and questions of self-worth in a narrative that many viewers found both relatable and rarely represented with such emotional depth on mainstream television. Off-screen, Chrissy extended that impact by speaking openly about her own experiences, often emphasizing vulnerability, resilience, and self-acceptance. In doing so, she became part of a broader cultural moment where visibility was not just about appearance, but about telling fuller, more complex stories of identity and lived experience. In her memoir and interviews, she often spoke about balancing self-acceptance with the desire to improve her health, a perspective many found relatable for its honesty and nuance. Then in 2025, she appeared with a noticeably changed look, and reports of a significant weight loss quickly drew public attention. Though exact figures were never confirmed, what stood out most was her response. Instead of avoiding the topic, she addressed it directly, describing the change as part of an ongoing personal health journey focused on well-being and self-care. She emphasized that she supports anything that helps people feel their best, making it clear that her decisions were guided by well-being rather than appearance alone. At the same time, Chrissy reaffirmed her continued belief in body positivity, suggesting that self-acceptance and personal change are not mutually exclusive. Even as her appearance evolved, many fans responded with understanding rather than judgment, appreciating her openness. Instead of avoiding the conversation or offering vague answers, she addressed it with clarity. For many viewers, that honesty created space to hold both ideas at once, valuing her focus on health while still respecting the message of acceptance she had long represented. Meghan Trainor is often part of wider conversations about body image and self-confidence because her public journey reflects a fascinating evolution in cultural messaging. Her breakthrough came with the song All About That Bass, a release that many viewed as a defining moment in discussions around self-acceptance. Its message felt direct yet reassuring, encouraging audiences to see value in diverse body types and challenge narrow beauty ideals. For years, the song resonated far beyond music charts, appearing at school events, dominating radio playlists, and spreading widely across digital platforms, where it became part of a much larger conversation about identity, confidence, and changing social perspectives. For many young people navigating body insecurities, Meghan's voice offered a sense of reassurance and encouragement, suggesting that self-worth reaches far beyond appearance. Her message resonated because it connected with personal struggles many rarely spoke about openly. Beyond her music, she also shaped a public image closely tied to confidence, often discussing self-acceptance in interviews and supporting conversations that encouraged healthier perspectives on body image. Yet as the years passed, audiences began noticing a visible shift in her appearance, prompting broader curiosity not only about personal transformation, but about how public messages can evolve alongside the pressures of life in the spotlight. Online conversations and speculation soon followed. In response, Meghan addressed the subject publicly on her podcast, sharing that she and her husband explored a medical approach to support changes connected to a health concern, a process she said contributed to a significant transformation. She emphasized that her focus was feeling stronger and healthier. Still, for many fans who once embraced All About That Bass as a deeply personal anthem, the shift sparked mixed reactions. It also opened broader questions about how messages of self-acceptance can coexist with personal wellness choices, and how public narratives often become more layered when viewed through the lens of growth, expectation, and individual autonomy. Amy Schumer's story stands apart in this broader conversation, and in many ways may be one of the most revealing. For years, she shaped her career by challenging the polished and often unrealistic standards long associated with Hollywood's image culture. Her comedy leaned into discomfort, candor, and imperfection, turning qualities often hidden from view into part of her creative identity. Rather than presenting an untouchable ideal, she made authenticity central to her work. That approach resonated deeply with audiences who valued her willingness to voice what others often left unsaid, helping spark larger conversations about confidence, cultural expectations, and the power of honesty in public life. She even starred in the film I Feel Pretty, a project many saw as reinforcing the idea that confidence begins internally rather than through meeting traditional beauty ideals. In interviews and public appearances, Amy also spoke about avoiding heavy photo retouching, saying she wanted audiences to see a more realistic representation of women. So when she later shared that she had tried a weight loss medication, it quickly attracted widespread attention. In a social media post, she described the experience as deeply challenging, explaining that it did not work well for her and led to difficult side effects that disrupted her sense of well-being and daily routine. Her openness added another layer to the conversation, shifting focus toward the unpredictable realities behind highly publicized solutions. She shared that the experience even affected her ability to be fully present in important family moments, adding a deeply personal dimension to the discussion. Not long after, the post was removed, but the conversation had already gained momentum. Around the same time, public reports about a cosmetic procedure from earlier years added further complexity to how audiences interpreted her story. For some, it challenged the image they had formed of her as someone known for questioning traditional beauty standards. Yet rather than reducing her story to contradiction, her experience may point to something far more layered. It reflects the realities of navigating an industry where powerful expectations persist, even for those who openly critique them, revealing how public identity and personal choices can exist in a far more complex relationship than they first appear. Kelly Clarkson is someone many people genuinely root for. Since winning the first season of American Idol in 2002, she has built a career often seen as remarkably grounded for someone living in the spotlight. Over time, she became known not only for her powerful voice, but also for her warmth, humor, and willingness to approach herself with honesty. When public attention turned toward her weight, Kelly often responded with candor and lighthearted perspective, which made her feel even more relatable to audiences. At one point, her partnership with Weight Watchers further reinforced that image, presenting her as someone navigating health challenges openly and practically, in a way many people saw as authentic rather than performative. Then, over the course of The Kelly Clarkson Show, viewers began noticing a gradual transformation. Season by season, subtle changes became more visible. What first seemed like small shifts eventually sparked broader curiosity. As her style evolved, her appearance changed, and public attention naturally followed. For quite some time, Kelly chose not to discuss it in detail, allowing speculation to grow on its own. Eventually, she addressed the subject directly, explaining that she was using a prescribed medication as part of a broader effort to support her health. She shared that it helped her body manage sugar more effectively, describing it as connected to a long-standing challenge she had been navigating for years. Her explanation added important context to a story many had been trying to understand from the outside. What stood out to many was not simply the transformation itself, but how it unfolded quietly in front of a massive audience with little explanation at first. For years, Kelly had come to represent someone approachable and genuine on television, someone many perceived as comfortable in her own identity. So when the change became more visible, many viewers responded not with criticism, but with curiosity and reflection. It felt less like controversy and more like a reminder that even the most familiar public figures experience personal evolution that may happen outside public understanding. In that sense, her story opened a broader conversation about privacy, perception, and how much audiences truly know about the journeys unfolding behind well-known faces. Barbie Ferrer's story stands out in a very different way, largely because she has chosen to leave much open to interpretation. For several years, she became one of the most recognizable figures associated with plus-size representation for a younger generation. Through her role on Euphoria, she portrayed a young person navigating confidence, identity, and self-worth in a world that often overlooks bodies outside traditional standards. Off-screen, Barbie reflected similar themes, speaking openly about the importance of creating space in fashion and entertainment for people long excluded from conventional ideals. Her public presence came to represent not just visibility, but a broader cultural shift in how beauty, representation, and belonging were being reimagined. Over time, however, audiences began noticing a visible shift in her appearance. When Barbie later appeared at a high-profile fashion event such as a Victoria's Secret runway show, many viewers were surprised by how different her look seemed compared to earlier public moments. Her silhouette appeared noticeably changed, and the transformation quickly became a subject of online discussion and interpretation. Given how closely she had been associated with conversations around representation and body acceptance, some expected a more detailed public explanation. Instead, when the topic came up, she referred to it in a light, almost understated way, calling it a side quest, and chose not to expand further. By keeping her response brief, she left space for public speculation, while also signaling a desire not to turn personal change into a central narrative, shifting the focus back to her work rather than her appearance. For some observers, that silence became one of the most intriguing elements of the story. The Victoria's Secret platform has long been linked with a specific and often debated standard of beauty, one that her earlier public image seemed to question or expand upon. Her presence in that space was therefore read by some as a shift in direction, while others saw it as a more complex continuation of her career rather than a reversal of values. Rather than framing the moment through explanation or direct commentary, she left it largely open-ended, offering minimal context and allowing interpretation to develop organically. In doing so, she placed the emphasis less on defining a single narrative and more on the broader tension between personal evolution and public expectation. The result is a story that resists simple conclusions, instead highlighting how identity in the public eye is often shaped as much by audience perception as by individual intent. Ashley Graham's story is often seen as a defining chapter in the modern body representation movement, largely because she didn't just participate in the conversation, she helped bring it into mainstream visibility. When she became the first plus-size model to appear on the cover of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, it was widely interpreted as a cultural turning point in fashion media, signaling a broader shift in what could be considered visible or celebrated on a global platform. Throughout her career, Ashley positioned herself as an advocate for body inclusivity, often speaking openly about embracing natural features that the industry had historically minimized or edited out of public view. Her message consistently emphasized visibility, respect, and acceptance for bodies across a wide spectrum of shapes and sizes. In doing so, she became a recognizable voice in conversations about redefining beauty standards and expanding representation within fashion and media spaces. For many women who once felt left out of traditional beauty standards, Ashley became a symbol of a more open and inclusive definition of beauty. Then, in late 2024, her appearance at a Victoria's Secret event drew immediate attention, as viewers noticed a clear shift in her overall look. Her figure appeared noticeably slimmer, and the change quickly became a topic of public discussion. While some speculation circulated about the scale of the transformation, no official details were ever confirmed. When questions arose, Ashley described her changes as the result of a renewed focus on her daily habits and overall well-being, including adjustments to her routine and lifestyle choices, such as incorporating weight loss smoothies. For some longtime followers, that explanation naturally led to further curiosity. The scale of the visible change felt significant to many viewers, and not everyone interpreted it through a single, straightforward lens. Around the same period, earlier clips from America's Next Top Model reappeared online, showing Ashley speaking critically about rigid industry expectations around size and appearance. Seeing those past reflections alongside her more recent public appearances created a contrast that many found thought-provoking. Instead of arriving at a simple or fixed conclusion, her journey is often viewed as part of a larger, ongoing conversation about personal evolution, public perception, and the shifting standards that continue to shape the fashion and entertainment world. Rebel Wilson's story adds another thoughtful layer to this discussion, especially because it highlights how strongly the entertainment industry can influence public perception in ways that aren't always visible. For years, she became widely recognized for comedic roles that were often tied to her physical appearance. Her performance as Fat Amy in the Pitch Perfect films brought her international fame, and audiences connected with her confidence, humor, and commanding presence on screen. However, in her memoir, Rebel later revealed reflections that many readers did not expect at first glance. She explained that, at times, there was an unspoken pressure within Hollywood to maintain that familiar image. Certain roles, branding choices, and expectations often felt closely connected to how she appeared on screen. In that sense, the industry seemed to both challenge and rely on the very image it publicly questioned. Later, Rebel began what she described as her year of health. Over time, she experienced a significant physical transformation, which quickly drew widespread attention. At first, she described the change as the result of shifts in her daily routine, including exercise, nutrition, and a stronger focus on overall well-being. The response from the public was largely supportive, with many viewers following her journey with interest and encouragement. As time went on, Rebel spoke more openly, acknowledging that weight loss medication also played a role in her experience. She explained that, for some people, certain medical tools can support broader efforts to manage health patterns and long-standing habits. When viewed as a whole, her story takes on a more layered meaning. It highlights how personal health journeys can involve multiple factors, and how public perception often shifts over time. It also reflects a broader tension within entertainment culture, where the same industry that once shaped expectations around a particular image can later respond very differently when that image changes. This contrast invites broader reflection on expectations, perception, and authenticity. Ultimately, the conversation may be less about physical change itself and more about communication, how much is shared, how much is implied, and how audiences interpret the space in between. Many people are not necessarily looking for perfection, but rather a sense of honesty and clarity from the public figures they follow. When all of these stories are viewed together, a wider pattern begins to take shape. It moves beyond weight, appearance, or individual choices, and instead highlights the gap between what is publicly expressed and what remains unspoken. For years, these women have represented confidence, acceptance, and authenticity to millions, becoming symbols in conversations that extend far beyond their personal journeys and into the culture that surrounds them. And while each of these journeys is deeply personal and valid, the way they are communicated often shapes how they are understood just as much as the changes themselves. In the end, most people are not asking public figures for perfection. What they tend to value most is honesty, the kind that acknowledges complexity and respects the audiences who connected with those messages from the very beginning. Perhaps that is the real takeaway, not about judging individual choices, but about recognizing the importance of openness in a world where influence extends far beyond appearance. Because when visibility carries meaning for millions, even small shifts in narrative can resonate in larger cultural ways. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss any new videos. See you in the next one.